Okay, welcome. Hi, Alan. Hi, Susie. Hello, all. Okay, we're letting people in and we'll start momentarily. Thank you for coming to join us for our first ASP US West Coast annual meeting. Well, actually, no, I think we're going to start on time and people can join us. So I want to appreciate the people who are here now. So with that, welcome to the 2022 ASP US West Coast Chapter first annual meeting with under this geography. And our purpose is to really celebrate our chapter and inform you about what's been going on for the past 2 years while we've all been under COVID, and to also learn your needs about future programming and direction for the chapter. It will be just a 45-minute session because we have our June event starting promptly at 1 o'clock today. So what we'd like to do is ask everybody who is on to please enter in the chat while we let other people in, your location, organization, and role, so that we get a sense of who's here. Here's the agenda for what we're going to be doing today. Joyce Reynolds Sinclair, I am the chapter president and doing the welcome. I am the understudy for Barbara Ruiz. She won't be able to be here today, so I will be doing the board election results and then sharing some chapter highlights and our programming. And we'll then turn it over and hear from the different functions. Marcy is a bit under the weather today, so Norma will be doing the marketing as well as the membership, and Angela will do the finance, and Angie will wrap it up with the operations. We hope to do all that in about a half an hour or so, and then have a web-based platform to capture your ideas about the future and feedback. And you can either do it there or send it to us in an email, and we'll also dialogue about it. So that's what we want to do today. Thank you for being here. The West Coast, US West Coast chapter, the board election, before I give the results, I just want to say a little bit about the process. So we start in the winter, and nomination committee is identified and solicits current board about their interest in staying on the board, and also sends out requests via email to all members asking if they want to nominate themselves or someone else to be on the call. Anyone who expressed interest in being a candidate for the board is invited to talk with members of the board as well as attend a board meeting to give us to get a sense of what we do and who we are. And then based on that, the nomination committee will put together a proposed slate and forwards that to the membership. At that point, we also ask, there's plenty of opportunities for you to get involved, because we also ask then for a petition signed by 5% of the board, which is 2 or 3 people, since we have about 50 people. If a petition is submitted, then the nomination committee will add that to the slate. We did not get any petitions this time, so the process is that our secretary casts a single ballot, and that is the board that's elected. The board terms are for 2 years. The officers are selected from the board by the directors for 1 year. So this is the results of our nomination today, for this year. Oops, let's go. I'm going to continue as the president for the next year. Alan Leeds and I started the NorCal chapter in 2003. I was on the board as co-president with him for about 6 or 7 years. And then I became a strategic advisor to the chapter and came on in 21 as the president. Angela Cadena is a director and treasurer. She hails from the Oregon area, from the Pacific Northwest, and came on as an appointee in January of 2021. And when Ken resigned, she became the treasurer in December of 2021 and has been doing a fantastic job. And so very glad to have Angela here. Barbara Ruiz is not with us today, but she has been the secretary since the 2008-2010 time. She also did programming and was responsible for a lot of programs we did in San Francisco focused on sustainability. At this point, she is acting as the secretary and doing a great job at that. Akhilesh Gulate is a new director at large. He expressed interest, and so he was elected to his first time here, but he's not new to ASP. Akhilesh was the former president of the Orange County chapter, so he hails from Southern California. and is joining us. He will use some time to figure out what particularly he wants to do, so he's coming in as a director at large. Marcy Plulunel is under the weather today, so she's not here, but she has been our marketing director since the early teens and has also in charge of social media. And she will be continuing in that role. Angie Roberts is our director and operations chair, and Angie is the real glue to our chapter. She's our secret sauce. Without her, I don't think we'd be able to do everything that I'm reporting to you today. So Angie, on behalf of everybody, I really want to thank you, and I'm so glad that you continue to volunteer your efforts, and people will understand why I emphasize this word when Angie does her presentation about operations, and you see what she does. And lastly, Norma Wattenpau. Norma came on in January 2021 and came on as the membership chair, and you will see the specific results, but Norma has done an incredible job. I think almost everybody who registered for this call has been touched by Norma, because she contacts all old members to renew them and new members bringing them in, and you'll see the results of her work over the past year and a half, and we are just delighted to have Norma with us. So that is your board for the US West Coast chapter. Let me talk a little bit now about the chapter highlights. Geographic expansion. We were, as I said, NorCal for 19 years, from April 23 to the US West Coast when we were approved by the ASP board in October 22. And what happened was there were chapters in Southern California. There were never any chapters in the Pacific Northwest, although we had a number of members who were interested. And during the COVID time, when we spoke to people, we got feedback that people really wanted to stay members, but they really wanted us to feel more included. Could we expand our chapter geographically? We spoke to and put a petition into the ASP board, and they approved that in October 2021. So we got the US West Coast, and actually, as Norma will show you, we actually go all the way from Alaska with members through British Columbia, down to Pacific Northwest, and then NorCal, SoCal, and we even include Arizona now, because there was a chapter there that dissolved and we had people who wanted to join. So we have a big geographic area. And so the name change was requested, and that's our new territory. Why did we do this? We wanted to, this response member need, but we also want to represent the West Coast in our cultural nuances to the global ASP. So one of the things, for example, that we did is that we try to enhance bottom-up innovation and programming and networking and try out new ideas. And so we're very proud of the kinds of things that you'll do, and you'll see some of those when we review the programming. Our new areas are represented on the chapter board, and I'm really happy about that. So that, as I said, Angela is from the Pacific Northwest and Aklesh is from the SoCal. And so that, I think, is really good. We are continuing with a well-received virtual program, which we're actually doing since about 2017, prior to COVID. There was such bad traffic in the NorCal area that it would take 3 hours to get to some of our events, and we really decided that we would try doing virtual. We actually started virtual a lot earlier even, because we had members from Cisco on our board about 2008, 2010, and they donated to us a telepresence. So we actually back then did some telepresence sessions, which were really fun. Cisco's no longer a board. I don't think, well, anyway, Cisco doesn't donate that. I don't think telepresence actually ever went anywhere after a while. So, but we did get to use that. And so now we're back, we're using Zoom. But we also want to support face-to-face events for members in their own areas and be able to do it with ease. So to the extent that people are here from other areas other than NorCal and you want to convene people, we want to be able to encourage you to do that and support you in doing that. We also want to involve more people than just the board, but we know that some people are very busy and don't necessarily want to join a board. And so by making that easier, we're considering enlarging a role of chapter ambassador. For membership, you would help Norma with contacting new members or having people meet each other and just reinforcing. We continue to get feedback that people really appreciate the personal contact, and we like it too, and we just want to spread that amount a bit more. In program, we could use a little bit more help. We don't have a program chair. So what we've done is we have shared the program responsibility among the board with different people taking responsibility for different programs. And we may continue to do that, but if there is somebody who's really interesting in taking that on and coordinating that, Angie is a great help with that. And so it's mainly the sourcing and getting it set up versus the logistics. We also had a major social media effort. Marcy will tell you about that, or Norma will tell you about that. But the important thing with that is that we invested in a social media project when we changed our name because we wanted to enhance awareness and involvement with the new West Coast chapter. And so we do have chapter ambassadors, or we actually should call it a social media team, so that you may notice on LinkedIn that we've been pretty active, and you'll see some of the statistics for that. And so we are looking for people to help with that. Not very time consuming, but very productive and useful. So those are the highlights of what we've done. In addition to that, we've really improved the chapter webpage. That became really important, and I have to thank Angie, and she'll go over the various changes that we've made to that. But I think that we have a really much better, and I think it's the best chapter webpage that ASP has. So thank you, Angie. Programming. Okay, I'm sorry that I'm the one talking all the time here, but here it goes. In 2021, we had 6 virtual events. This was during COVID, so we were only doing virtual. We decided to have a wine and strategy event, disrupting the wine industry during COVID. And so we sent, for anybody who registered, they got 3 bottles of wine, and we had a wine tasting and talk about the strategy that the winery was using. For those of the people who want, it was great. And we subsidized some of that, and because we had the funds, since we couldn't have a live dinner meeting. And so that's what we did. Some of the people on the call here were in there, and I see their heads nodding. So that was really wonderful. In January, we had a Manage to Lead interactive overview with Intelivin and Peter DiGiamarino, who had done some sessions for us before. And then the winery was so good, we figured that was we would do it again in February 2021. And so we had the same winery back, had some people repeated, some new people came to that, and we're talking still about the wine tasting and the strategic pivoting in challenging times. And it was a multi-sensory, which was really fascinating. We then had started meeting a bit more as a board, and we decided what we wanted to do was to record all of our sessions and make them available to members afterwards and guests for a fee. So we had 3 sessions in the end of that year. The first one was on DEI with Margaret Huang, and then Robust Virtual Teams was with Rob McNeil, and Conscious Capitalism for Strategy Development was with Chris Schaefer. And these were all well received, and Chris's was so well received that we wound up repeating her with a follow-up session, not so much a repeat, the following year, which I'll show you. So so that was basically, and that was typically what we do. We are typically, from the very start, we were dark for the summer, except if we had a special project going on. And that gives us a little bit. And then we don't have a session in May because that's the month that ASP has its annual conference. We don't want to do anything in competition with that. So this is what we have this year. We had Angela Cadena, who's here on our board with Diane Gorski, gave a wonderful session on purpose and strategy. And you'll see that all the ones that have a star are available on our new website. If you haven't gone to that session, it's a topic of interest to you, you can certainly download it and get it. In blue, we have what we call SDGs. We started those about 2015. Ken and Barbara were the ones who conceived and executed them originally. Strategy dialogue groups. Rather than having presentations, we identified that there's a need really for just some networking and dialogue and talk. And so what we do is identify an article and share that article before, and then the session is not recorded, but it really is an opportunity for strategists to talk about an article in depth and share their perceptions of it. So we did the Edge of Chaos in October. In December, we had Mark, his last name, Mark Diamond, yes, from Contori, did a wonderful session on future-proofing your strategy in times of disruption, which we thought was a really good topic to do during COVID. And then if you're able to future-proof, you then want to move into pivoting from performance management to performance momentum. We had Peter DiGiamarino back with Lori Michelle Levitt from Abridge, and that was a very powerful session looking at how software can help you do both of these. And then in February, we had the follow-up, whereas Chris's first session was on conscious capitalism for strategy development. This one was focused on strategy execution. And we got some really fantastic rave reviews. If you're not familiar with the principles of conscious capitalism, I really encourage you to see both of those, because there's a lot to learn and applicable for strategists. Then we focused on board governance, which is one of the 5 rubrics now of the domains of strategy. And we hadn't done much with that, so that was very well received and very highly registered. And then in April, this was our largest session of all. This is the end of strategy, the 5 new pillars of strategic thinking. And then right after this session, we're going to have the evolution of strategy. What's next in this digital age by Soren Kaplan. If you haven't registered yet, I really encourage you to register. It's going to be and there's going to be a giveaway during that session that if you'll be sorry if you missed it. So as I said, we'll note your ideas for future programming when we at the very end. And I just want to bring everybody that because of the 2 sessions we did in conscious capitalism, Chris Schaefer has agreed to do a summer dialogue series over the summer. On these dates, we had a number of people from Australia who attended these sessions, and they have a strong interest. So we're doing it at a time that's good not only for us, but good for Australia. And so it's 4 to 5:30 on bi-weekly on these Wednesdays in August. So because of the intensity of it, we are charging, but a very minimal fee for members, and then still small, twice that for non-members. Okay, Norma, take it away.
All right, thank you. So since Mercy is not here, I elected to fill in for her, since I have been active in the social media projects that we've deployed this year. And we had a couple of major objectives in doubling down on social media. As Joyce noted, we needed to promote the new chapter name so people knew who we were. We wanted to create more visibility around our events, attract more attendees, both within our membership, and to create cast a wider net, if you will, and to recruit more people beyond our membership to attend meetings and become prospects for membership. And we also wanted to create more engagement and more visibility within our membership so we can create more of a sense of community. So with that, we established a chapter page, US West Coast page. If you're not a member, shoot me a note, I'll send you the link, or you can search on US West ASAP and you'll find that. And what we've been posting is event posts, both that get posted to the page, get shared and promoted into networks outside the page, again, to create a wider net, get more folks aware of who we are, what we do, what we offer, and ultimately build more community and membership. We have member testimonials. In fact, I see from the list here, a number of folks here have been invited to do member testimonials. You'll see a number of them there that we're rotating through, about members speaking about why they joined ASAP, the value they get from certification, to give people more of an idea of what we're about. And we've been using a lot more video clips. We find that those get the most engagement, more click-throughs, if you will, either people speaking or the more graphical videos that have a lot of moving graphics that are eye-catching and bring people, engage people and bring them in. So we'll be reviewing a few of the social media metrics, but one of our asks is that we're always looking for people to help amplify the message. So while we have, someone who's developing the content stays on the page unless we have people who are active in liking, sharing, commenting. And so if that's a role you would like to do, it's not a lot of heavy lifting. It's just when you see it pop up in the feed, or when you get a notice that there's something new on the page, like, comment, share. It'll take you 30 seconds about 2-3 times a week. So if that's something you're interested in, we'd love to hear from you. Next slide.
Yes, here we are.
And Angie, I think you put these together, so thank you very much for doing that. In fact, I love this graphic of where are our followers located. We now have 111 followers on the ASP page, the chapter page. And that's a critical number because you need to get over 100 to get any kind of critical mass, any kind of dialogue and interaction going. That really starts to feed the algorithm, as we say. You can see that 37 of the members or followers on the page are in these traditional NorCal, San Francisco Bay Area, but we've also beginning to expand our reach to other areas of our geography. You see Los Angeles, Portland, Phoenix, Seattle, and we don't mean to repatriate Canadian members to the US, but you're welcome. We started with any forethought, we would call it the North American.
Yeah.
But you're welcome.
We spent a while trying to figure out what to do with the name, and they decided to do US because there are some legal reasons and differences with chapters outside. And so all chapters are eventually going to have US in front of it. So, but they can take outside members.
All right.
Okay, great.
Another interesting fact is that you see we have a lot of followers on page that are outside of the US or outside of our chapter territory, but are still interested in following what we do. Visitor highlights, we are getting stronger highlights all the time. You see May as a deep dip, but that's because we do no promotion in May to give some air cover, to give some space in the promotion for the global conference. But June has really jumped up, and I'm glad to see that because we have a lot going on in June. We wanted to make sure people knew about that and saw that.
Thank you, Norma. Okay, you want to continue with membership?
And continuing with membership. So we have had a 35% growth rate. This is in recruiting partner members outside, brand spanking new members. Most of the member growth has come, you can see the little chart on the map at the side that we have brought in a lot of members that are from our larger territory, and those aren't included in the 35% growth. So we've added both new members and we've added new to us members, but not new to ASP.
And I just want to add that when Norma came in January 21, we were lower. We were closer to 22, 23, 25. So she's basically doubled our membership under Norma. So congratulations, Norma.
Thank you. Well, a lot of that has to do with the retention rate too, is that we've been doing personal outreaches, and that's had a real impact. So beyond just the real renewal notices you get from the machine, the management system, we've been trying to do outreach, and some of the other board members have volunteered to help do that as well, so that people who are coming up for renewal get a personal note from someone on the board that says, I hope you're seeing value. We'd like to better serve you. What can we do for you? And please renew. So it's an outreach to get people more engaged and more aware of the benefits. And as Joyce is circling there, we do outreach to all new members. Welcome to the club. We recruitment note to non-members who attend events. And anyone who follows the LinkedIn page or, otherwise contacts us, we try to reach out to them, ensure they feel welcome and have a good understanding of the member value, and hopefully they will click to join.
Yes, so Norma welcomes anyone who volunteers to help with that.
Yeah, and that is something that is also very helpful, is having membership volunteers who can help with that outreach. So if you're an extrovert, you like meeting new people, you like meeting people who know what you do and can share, this is a great role.
Okay, thank you, Norma. Okay. We're going to have Angela talk about this. I will just say something that all ASP chapters are advisory to the board of directors. We're not a governance board, the governance chapter. And so there's fewer fiscal responsibilities. They do all the taxes and all of the other sorts of stuff, but there's still responsibilities. And as I said earlier, that's why we became a chapter. So Angela, why don't you say what your focus as our treasurer is?
Yes, and before I start, I'd like to say that I'm Colombian, but I'm also Canadian. So I'm one of those members on this group that comes from all over the place. So thank you, Joyce, for introducing finances. One thing that I like to emphasize is that we've been focusing our association chapter in producing and delivering quality and periodic events for our community of ASP members and guests and non-members as well. We have invested in, as both Norma and Joyce have mentioned, in social media to promote those events and also to solidify our presence. Event participation is free for members and at a very low cost for non-members. It started in June, and following the guidelines of the Global Association, the ASP Global, we have a modest change for non-members, moving the fee for events from $10 to $25, which is a very nominal cost for attending a speech and participating. Going forward, we'll have this year a very important new thing that we're doing, which is we did some of like this before, but for the new chapter name, we have this 2022 Summer Dialogue Series, which, by the way, I just enrolled to participate in this series, and it's going to be phenomenal. And we're very encouraged because it's going to be, as it says, not only a presentation, but a dialogue. But my role as a treasurer is not only to be looking at the financial information, but also to track events registration and attendance. So in the next slide, I am presenting to you two illustrations. On the left, you see the registration numbers, how many people we had registered for our events. And on the right, it has the statistics on the live attendance. So let me just walk you through the registration. First of all, these bars that you see, these horizontal bars, are by date. So the first date is the event that occurred in September, and then all the way that the last event that occurred in April. So if you can see, there's two bars, the orange and the blue bars. It's showing that our registration for events has been increasing, and is quite notably increased in the last event in April for the members and also for the non-members. Maybe not at the same degree, but this is absolutely great news for us and for our effort and for all the different participants at the membership level that have been attending this event. And to the right, as I said, it's the number of people that attended the event live the day of the event. And so we also have very good news. We are seeing that people are coming to the events and they are participating, and they are maybe in the neighborhood of 40 to 50% of the people that register, they actually come and attend. So we are grateful for all of you who are participating. And that covers for my session, unless there's a question.
Thank you very much, Angela. Angie, take away operations.
All right, my name's Angie Roberts, and as Joyce said, my company is the association office. I'm going to actually start backwards a little bit here. I started out with the organization a long time ago, man, almost a couple of decades, huh, Joyce?
Yes.
I was a contractor to the chapter, and my company, the association office, handled the association management for the chapter. At that time, we were introduced to the national office, but we didn't have a lot of interface with them unless the local board needed us to help in some way. So over the years, what we've done is, you know, because I've been involved for so long and almost since the beginning, there was a period when the chapter was, you know, having a bit of strife, as associations do, nonprofits go through that. And so I volunteered to take a role on the board and waive some of the costs that that we were billing at the time. Eventually, we ended up waiving the entire bill, and now I'm a volunteer on the board and have been that way for man, 5 years at least.
At least.
I don't even remember when that even happened. So we provide these services to all of our clients, but I feel really honored to be a member of this board. The board didn't need to do that. They didn't need to invite me to be a board member. I really enjoy working with all of these people. I told the board yesterday when we were having a bit of a discussion before today's event that I'm so proud of our board. We've done so much over the years. And so my company is happy to provide some of the services that we do, adding those website pages like Joyce spoke about. We have a couple of different pages, one where we highlight the board members, excuse me, and some of the things that we're doing, within the community. And then a second page where we list our relationships, for instance, our association partnership with Women in Consulting, and those events are listed there on that second page. We also added a page in the chapter, in the actual national store for ASP, that we have up there all of our recorded webinars, and there's a nice packet that members can download for no charge, and non-members have a bit of a nominal fee for that. And those things are available usually within a week to 10 days after the event takes place. You'll see those up on the store. We also have the great privilege of working with the national office on a lot of different projects. Our chapter has the benefit of longtime members of ASP, and with that comes a lot of respect from the national office. So they do ask us for help, and they ask us to help, partner with them and develop materials and resources that would be of use to other chapters throughout the world. So we're proud of that. We also added a new benefit this year, and I want to thank Paul Radoff for that. He was the member that brought forward the idea of sharing events that our members are participating in or hosting. And so we've added that to our activities page. So if any of you on this call today, or any of you listening to this recording later, would like to add your events to that page, we'd love to list those there with a link back to your registration page or landing page, whichever is your preference. And really sharing your, in providing you another place where you can get some activity and traction for your events. So, and I did mention also the Women in Consulting partnership that we have. Those events are also listed on our activity page. If you have other partnerships that you think might be great for our chapter to explore, please bring those forward also. We'll put again in the chat the link to the idea set, so you can add some of your ideas about programs you might want to see or other things that we might explore as a chapter. So thanks again for being here. And Joyce, I hand it back to you.
Well, thank you, Angie. So what we'd like to do is to provide your feedback, and put the bit.ly to go there is there. That's it should be in the chat, or you can, if you prefer, you can send your feedback. The 4 things we're asking about, and we'll have a bit of a dialogue about, is any ideas that you have for future programming, because that we see as the core value that our chapter provides. It doesn't have to be all webinars, and we really want to explore other options, and so we want to hear what people want. And so and that relates to, if it's not programming, any kind of future focus or direction for our chapter. We are going to have a strategy meeting in July, and we will take all of this information that we get from you. If you are interested in a chapter role, membership ambassador, program ambassador, social media team, or feedback about today's session, there's a way to do that. And so now if I can get to the right page, there it is. If you do the link, this is what it's going to show you. This is a Group Mind page, which is donated to our chapter. And so all you need to do is you use the drop down here and select which of those 4 questions you want to answer, and over here, and then you put your comment in here, and you'll see somebody entered more SDG sessions. Somebody else, they selected B, continue the focus on purpose. And so any names, any ideas that go in there, if you want to put those in, you just click submit to enter, and you'll see that there are signs over here, stars. And so if you like, for example, I like the idea of focus on purpose. I think that's really good. I put a star there, and then that one gets starred, my star, and we'll be able to see those. So while you're doing that, I did see, Kaylin, you said bring that back. What were you talking about? Was that the wine tasting?
Oh, yes. Yeah, bring that back.
Well, we are actually, as part of looking, I spoke to Rick Thomas, who is up in Oregon, who has a winery as a client. He said that they were working, what we wanted to do is have the winery talk not only about the tasting, but also their strategy. And so he said, it's not going to work right now, but maybe next summer. But if you know of a winery or something, you have something there where they have something to share that's related to strategy as well as some good wine, we can certainly look at doing something for that. So if you want wine, put that in the in box A as an idea for future programming. Okay. Well, thank you for putting so much work into this. Yes. Okay. So Mohammed, hi, I haven't met you before. Can you say tell us a little bit about what you're thinking given this session? You're from Southern California, I believe. No, you're from SoCal, right? Oh, you're on mute, Mohammed.
Sorry
Okay.
about that. Yes, I'm from Southern California, and it's Los Angeles,
Okay.
in a place called West Hills. Well, you guys are pretty active and expanding and very cohesive. And I've attended one or two of your sessions, and I'm about to attend the one that you're having after this as well.
Right.
So yes, I am keen and enthusiastic about your activities. So let me follow you through for a couple of months or two and see how I can get connected, Joyce.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Thank
That's
you.
great.
Thank you for
Okay.
having me.
Alan, you want to give any perspective on with your long history with ASP?
Sure. I think all of you have done an awesome job, Angela and Angie and Joyce and Norma, on putting together statistics and numbers and programs that are much more mature than what the ASP has. So congratulations on doing it. I think you have, a great way of doing it. I've been working on the webinars, and I'd love to work with you. And I've talked, Joyce, we've talked several times about how we can collaborate on that. I'm starting to do that with some of the other chapters or communities of practice.
Great.
And it seems like what we should probably do is have just a list of all the different programs and then decide how do we market it, how do we, where does it best fit, et cetera, for that.
Great. Okay, well, look forward to doing that, Alan. I always
Yeah.
enjoyed working with you.
Yeah. So great job, everybody, with the membership and the marketing as well.
Thank you. Kaylin, you want to say anything else other than wine? Tell us about yourself and why you joined or what you're looking for in ASP.
Yeah, thank you. I came across ASP just as I was kind of in my new role as a strategy manager for Tacoma Water, which is a publicly owned water utility. And I recently passed my SPP exam.
Congratulations.
Oh, wonderful. Yes. So I was very excited to get that credentialing just in time to kind of reassess our strategic plan and look at kind of, where we are. So for me, what's really helpful is the knowledge sharing and the experience sharing and the tools and the training and just finding my people to kind of help me on this journey of strategy. So I'm also a fairly new member, so wanting to just get my feet wet a little bit in what ASP has to offer me as a chapter, as a member at large, and then also just expanding my knowledge that I just gained.
Wonderful. Yeah. Well, I will say that whether you have your SVP or not, that's wonderful. I think that you will really get a lot out of the evolution of strategy, what's next in the digital age with Soren Kaplan from Praxi. The session is at 1 o'clock. I hope that you are registered. If not, go and if you can't make it because you have something else, register and then do it. Because as I said, there's going to be a surprise giveaway. And I predict that you and Mohammed, all of us are going to be able to use that in our work. And then just again, the conscious capitalism, applying the tenets, the 4 tenets. And what we're doing for that is people can read view the recordings, but then they'll have 4 intensive sessions that go into each of the key parts of conscious capitalism.
If I could just interrupt,
yes.
Kaylin, I'm doing some work with conscious capitalism as well. and we're interviewing people, and we interviewed a guy named Larry Bigeman, and he's with South Central Connecticut Water. And he's a big advocate on conscious capitalism. Obviously, he's a public water, and he's doing a lot of good things in that. So, you know, offline, by all means, call me, and maybe I could talk to him and possibly set up a meet type of thing.
And I think Chris is doing some of those interviews too, and she's going to be integrating the new information from the interviews into the program. So that's really great. Thanks for sharing that, Alan.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's 12:42. I know people are busy, but if anybody have anything else they want to share that they haven't shared yet? Okay, so with this, let me.
No,
Yes,
I just want to encourage members that if they have a great topic or a great client that they could do a case study on, that they should volunteer to do a program.
Yes, yes. And I really want to explore it. I will say one thing. Freda Cohen couldn't be on this. She's in Israel right now, but she is a professional coming into strategy later in her career. And so she asked me, is there anything we can do for people who are not brand new? They may be new to strategy, but they have a whole bunch of other experience. And so she's looking at perhaps putting together a group of people who are transitioning into strategy from another career. So it's not that you're new. And when she gets back from Israel, we're going to talk about that. But we do want to look at, aside from just presentations, what the interest is and what the needs of the members are. So I really encourage you, either put it in here, this will stay up until we have our strategy meeting, I'll keep it open, or send an email to our email and let us know what the kinds of things are that we can do. We want to continue doing what we're doing well and find new things that will meet everybody's needs. So, okay, well, with that, let me adjourn our first US West Coast annual meeting. And we look forward to a very exciting year, and we'll be back here in June of 2023 to report out what the results of that is. Okay, thank you.